So here's what's going on. I got most of the damage cut away, and the frame rail on this side is actually kicked up a fair bit, and this strut tower is pushed back a little bit. So I made an anchor down to the shop floor, and I got that big long bar stuck in there, and I got it chained down, and I got the jack under the frame underneath the car, and the idea is to try and pull it back down, have the anchor keep it down as I put pressure underneath, hopefully to pull it back down and to pull this out. And then at the same time I've got a chain on top of the strut tower going to my 86 Ford come along, and man, the camera's really jumpy, sorry about that, but to keep pressure on the top of it and hopefully pull that back as well at the same time. And I've actually got a small amount of movement, because if we look up here you can see this sticker here. Well, can't see for the shadows, but oh man, this there's a mark where this guy was actually rubbing up against that sticker, and now it's moved off that mark by about well, I'd like to say a ½ inch, but realistically more like a ¼ inch. So it is working very slowly. The frame rail's still way higher. Well, mind you, the car is slightly higher on that side at the moment, so actually that's not too bad. It's actually coming into place. It was way off before I threw that bumper on it, and when the car was level, I think there was a 3-inch difference from end to end, from one end to the other. Anyways, I'm going to turn this camera off because it clearly doesn't want to cooperate. So, with that bar stuffed in the end of the frame rail, I thought that would give it more leverage, but what ended up happening is just the bar itself would flex because it's a great big piece of spring steel. And like, I did get the frame to come down a little bit, and that strut tower to move out about a ¼ inch, maybe a ½ inch total. But it's still got to come about another inch or inch and a half, so I figured I would move the chain, put it right on the frame horn, and even though it'll give me less leverage, it'll be more direct force. So I'm going to start jacking it, and let's watch, see what happens here. I don't see it moving quite yet. Okay, that might be moving a little bit. In fact, I believe it is. I'm just going to give it a little more. Oh. Okay. That's a lot of pressure on the frame right now. Make sure nothing's kinking or caving in there. Anyway, that's the process I'm using to try and straighten this thing. Let's see, the car is at a bit of an angle, and yeah, the frame is still higher than the angle of the car. So I'll work at it some more. Chain's tight. Got pressure on it from the jack. Chain up here's got some tension on it. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's not there yet, but it's a lot better. I could not stick one finger in there when I started. I've got about an inch gap now, so that's pretty damn good. From what I can gather is it needed to come back a total of 1 inch to 1.5 inches, maybe at most. And right now, with tension on it, it's about 1 inch. It'll probably go back, a 1/4 inch or so. So it's safe to say I'm about halfway there. I'll take the tension off, and we'll see how that rad cradle fits. Okay, so I just want to show now. I pulled it once more, and I'm at the point where this front cradle, if I line everything up on this side, so this frame horn and that corner of the fender, come over here, and it just falls into place on this frame horn. Like, it's almost bang on dead perfect. And so that tells me that frame is pretty much back to where it needs to be. At least enough to put the car back together. And the strut tower did come back a little more. So my next step would be to cut up the new inner fender that I cut off the other car and just tack it on here. Maybe even just with sheet metal screws for now. And then I'll just rough fit the outer fender and the hood and the front valance and everything, and just make sure that everything is basically where it needs to be. There is a little bit of adjustment for stuff fitting together on these cars, but not enough where it was before. It was way out to lunch. It was out by inches. Now it's within half an inch, I'd say. And if you can get all that within a 1/4 inch, that's as good as they were from the factory. So I think I'm in good shape. Definitely enough that this car can see the road again. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you how I was doing that, and that's basically what you do, is you pull out all the obvious damage and then straighten it out and use your existing good parts as a template and just go from there. And so, like I say, my next step will be to just tack all the new stuff on, and then just fit the hood and the fender and everything, not loose, but not finished. It'll just be like a dry fit, and just make sure everything is lined up, and then I'll actually fully weld all this up and then put it back together for good. And I guess I can go ahead and get my new control arm on this side. I picked up 2 new ones. I'll put the one on here for now and do the other one once I get all this mess straightened out. Okay, well, there's the Beamer coming along.